ocean had always whispered to the shore, a gentle, rhythmic hush that filled the air with salt and secrets. But today, something was different. Today, it wasn't just whispering. It was calling out to a tiny, curious heart. A little ginger kitten stood at the very edge of the world, right where the sand met the sea. His eyes, big and grin like polished sea glass, were wide with a sense of pure wonder. He watched the waves roll in, each one carrying a million sparkling diamonds that shattered and reformed in the sunlight. They looked like secrets just waiting to be discovered. Andy Hay was the one destined to find them. Beside him, a figure of calm and strength, sat Mama Chat. Her gaze was soft but watchful, a silent guardian against the vastness of the world. She knew, with the wisdom of all mothers, that the world was an incredibly beautiful place, full of magic and delight. But she also knew that it held dangers, sharp edges hidden beneath its shimmering surface. Her presence was a quiet promise of safety, a steady anchor in the face of the unknown. The kitten, feeling the warmth of her beside him, felt brave. He took a small, tentative step forward, his paws sinking into the cool, wet sand. The sensation was new, exciting. He took another step, and then another, drawn by the irresistible pull of the water. With a soft splash that barely disturbed the surface, the kitten dove into the shallows. It wasn't a clumsy fall or an act of fear. It was a deliberate choice, a leap driven by an insatiable curiosity that burned brighter than any caution. He had to know what this sparkling, moving world felt like. And in that same instant, without a single moment of hesitation, Mama Chat followed. She slipped into the water as gracefully as a shadow, her purpose clear and unwavering. Where her child went, she would go too. Beneath the surface, a world of impossible magic unfolded before the kitten's wide eyes. It was a silent, vibrant kingdom. Colorful coral reefs, in shades of pink, purple, and orange, glowed softly as shafts of sunlight pierced the water. They looked like an underwater garden, sculpted by time and tide. Tiny fish, like living jewels, darted and danced around them. Schools of silver and blue flashed past, their movements a synchronized ballet of life. The kitten, suspended in this new element, was utterly amazed. Bubbles, like tiny silver spheres, floated upward from his nose as he swam clumsily, his little legs paddling with more enthusiasm than skill. Everything was a wonder: the gentle sway of the seaweed, the tickle of a passing fish, the muffled, peaceful sound of the world above. He was so caught up in the spectacle that he didn't realize he was drifting. A gentle current, unseen and unfelt, had carried him a little too far from the familiar shadow of his mother. For a brief, terrifying moment, the wonder was replaced by a flicker of panic. The vastness of the water suddenly felt overwhelming, and he felt very, very small. His heart beat a little faster, his movements becoming frantic. But before that fear could truly take hold, before it could drown his courage, Mama Chat was there. She appeared beside him, a reassuring presence in the blue expanse. She didn't scold him or panic herself. Instead, she wrapped her long, soft tail gently around his small body, pulling him close. It wasn't a gesture of force, but one of pure, unconditional love. In that quiet, suspended moment, cradled in his mother's embrace beneath the waves, the kitten understood something profound. He understood that exploration, the drive to see and know and experience, was a beautiful and necessary part of life. But he also learned that safety, true safety, wasn't about avoiding danger. It came from family. It was the feeling of a mother's tail wrapped around you when you drifted too far. It was the quiet confidence that someone was always watching over you, ready to guide you back. Her love was his compass, his anchor, his safe harbor in the boundless sea. With this newfound understanding, the fear vanished, replaced by a deep sense of security. Together, they swam side by side, exploring the wonders of the reef as one. Mama Chat guided him, pointing with her nose toward a shy crab peeking from a rock, or nudging him gently away from a spiky sea urchin. She was the teacher, and he was the eager student. He learned to navigate the currents, to watch the dance of the anemones, and to appreciate the quiet beauty of this hidden world. It was a shared adventure, a memory woven from sunlight, salt water, and a mother's patient guidance. They were no more longer just a mother and son. They were partners in discovery. As the sun began to dip low on the horizon, painting the sky in fiery shades of gold and orange, they returned to the shore. The world above seemed warmer, softer, after their journey into the blue. The kitten emerged from the water, his ginger fur plastered to his small frame, and he gave a mighty shake, sending a spray of droplets flying into the evening air. He felt a deep, rumbling start in his chest, a sound of pure contentment and happiness. Hey trotted over to his mother. Andy rubbed against her leg, a gesture of thanks and affection. Mama Chet looked down at him, her eyes soft with pride. Andy began to lick his head gently. Her rough tongue was comforting, washing away the salt and the last lingering traces of his fear. Today had been more than just an adventure. It was more than just seeing a coral reef or swimming with fish. It was a lesson, written not in words, but in actions and feelings. A lesson about courage, about curiosity, and about the unbreakable bond that tethers a child to a parent. The kitten looked but out at the vast, darkening ocean, no more longer with just wonder, but with a quiet respect. He now knew that no more matter how big and wide the world is, no more matter how deep its mysteries run, a mother's love is, and always will be, deeper than the sea. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more gentle tales from our wondrous world. Stay curious, and stay safe.